Welcome to Wrestler of the Week, Week 23. It pretty much works like this. If you are a professional wrestler and you made the most impact over the past 7 days, you will be named Wrestler of the Week. Every week, points will be tabulated, and whoever has the most points at the end of the calendar year will be named the male and female Wrestler of the Year. And if you want to see what I use as criteria for Wrestler of the Week, be sure to check out my Week 1 episode. This week was nuts! We got big title changes, big title defenses, big returns, and continuations of some of the biggest angles in all of wrestling, along with some insane major cross-promotion shit going on. So let's just do it. First, the men and some honorable mentions. Chris Jericho won a major match against Samoa Joe on Dynamite, culminating in Joe being stretchered out. AEW World Champs Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page made waves on Dynamite, as well as Swerve joined Team AEW for Blood and Guts, while in response, Page joined the Elite. These guys just hate each other. Go Shiozaki, Ulka Sasaki, and Amasuka would all win titles at Pro Wrestling Noah's Destination event, the 01 Heavyweight, GHC National, and GHC Junior Heavyweight titles respectively. This insane three-way feud between Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and WWE Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn continues, and Braun just keeps wrecking bitches. Darby Allin made an unexpected but welcome return to AEW. Charlie Dempsey from NXT made his presence known at TNA Impact, defeating Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. Then the No Quarter Catch Club would defeat the Rascals in the same evening. Speaking of, the Rascals themselves would embrace Wesley and would all reunite on NXT. Roderick Strong will be crowned the number 1 contender to Mark Briscoe's Ring of Honor World title. The Wyatt 6 angle trucks along with Bo Dallas continuing to deliver insane segments. LA Knight appeared on SmackDown last week, all fired up and ready for his match at SummerSlam against US champ Logan Paul. And the Bloodline continues to decimate anyone in their orbit. The feud between them, WWE Undisputed Champ Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens is nowhere near over. And now the top 10 wrestlers of the week for the men. We have Tony D'Angelo, the NXT Heritage Cup champ, who defended the NXT Heritage Cup in a decent match against Lexis King. D'Angelo got a little assist from Eddie Thorpe, who arrived to DJ during the match and just be a general annoyance to King. In the end, D'Angelo hit a spinebuster in the 4th round to secure the victory and retain the cup. I like D'Angelo. I like that he's a fighting champ with the cup. I just think it is time he goes through some sort of gimmick change or evolution, as his current Italian stereotype character is out of 1995, and if he is ever going to be taken seriously and break that glass ceiling, he needs a more serious character. But that is just my own nitpick. Like I said, I like D'Angelo the wrestler. He's talented, and I appreciate that he has gone all in on the character. Soon, though, he will have to face a challenge that will make him think there is more to wrestling than putting his opponents in car trunks. Until then, we have the dawn of NXT and NXT Heritage Cup champ Tony D'Angelo, who lands on the list at number 10. Coming in at the number 9 spot for the men are a pair of rivals who had some significant promo time this week. First, Seth freaking Rollins and CM Punk would have an intense face-to-face on Monday Night Raw, where Rollins promised that all of Punk's actions and how they have affected others in his orbit over his hatred of Drew McIntyre will reap consequences. Also, AEW International Champ Will Ospreay called out current rival MJF, who appeared on the Tron and made a challenge for the international title on Dynamite, which, if you want me to be honest, I don't expect any kind of decisive finish for this, as I believe this is a match that is going to be part of the All-In card, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Daniel Garcia run down to exact revenge on MJF for attacking him. Also, it was nice of WWE to remind us that before things made a hard turn, one of the major matches for WrestleMania 40 was supposed to be Punk versus Rollins. and they still do not like each other. I love these rivalries because there are layers, there are more than two people involved, and the potential for insane matches are there. This week, the number 9 spot goes to MJF and Will Ospreay on the AEW side, and Seth freaking Rollins and CM Punk on the WWE side for the men. The new WWE SmackDown Tag Champs DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, would successfully defend their newly won titles against former champs A-Town Down Under on SmackDown. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory did all they could to regain their titles, but ultimately miscommunication cost them the match as Theory mistakenly hit Waller, which opened him up to the Shatter Machine and the win for DIY, and this was meant to truly establish DIY as the team on SmackDown. Now that we are on our way to SummerSlam, who will step up to the challenge? Perhaps the Street Profits, who have been getting heated back up lately? Who knows, but it will be great to see Johnny Gargano enter his home of Cleveland as champion, and I am sure whatever match they are on the card with will slap. DIY, the current WWE SmackDown Tag Champs, land on the list for the men at number 8. Matt Riddle finds himself on the list at number 7 this week for the men, and he won a brutal no-ropes deathmatch main event at MLW Blood and Thunder against Sami Callihan. Sami came out declaring that he was going to defeat Riddle in under 5 seconds. When that did not happen, the two engaged in a brutal physical war that saw the match end when Riddle would catch Callihan in a crossface using the ropes, causing Callihan to submit, and Riddle remains the number 1 contender for the MLW World title, and I believe it is only a matter of time before Riddle is crowned as new champ. Matt Riddle has done a good job of keeping his aura of being a legit ass kicker since being released by WWE, and if Riddle can keep his personal issues at bay, he may end 2024 in a big way. Until we see what transpires in the future, the ultimate bro, Matt Riddle, comes in at number 7. We have a tie at number 6 for two competitors who defended their titles this week. First, Ring of Honor television champ Atlantis Jr. won his first title defense against Serpentico in a good match on Ring of Honor television, while AJ Francis would defend the TNA Digital Media title on Impact in a quick match against Rhino. Both matches were meant to further establish the champions in their own way, with Atlantis being a fighting babyface lucha champ, while Francis continues to heal it up with Rich Swann. Francis does make for a very good, annoying heel that people want to see beat up, while Atlantis Jr. is an exciting luchador that could bring some more international flavor to Ring of Honor, but the promotion does still suffer from some lack of storytelling. Hopefully over time this changes, but right now I do like Atlantis Jr., and his win over Kyle Fletcher was a genuine shock. This week, Ring of Honor television champ Atlantis Jr. and TNA Digital Media champ AJ Francis land on the list at number 6 for the men. The phenomenal AJ Styles appears on the list at the number 5 spot, and that is for his win against the legendary Naomichi Marufuji at Pro Wrestling Noah's Destination event in a match that saw the two turn back the clock for some truly burly grappling. It took a second Styles Clash attempt from AJ to finally get the win, and what a major notch on the belt of AJ to come back to Japan and excel in one hell of a match. WWE's interpromotional strategy is in play, and I am all for it if it ends up putting more eyeballs in certain promotions and stars and gives us matches like these. More people should know who Marufuji is and his contributions to the wrestling industry, and I hope this is a good first step. AJ Styles is still one of the top premier wrestlers in the world, and any card that has him on it will be top tier. Now that AJ has won his interpromotional match, are we willing to accept that this is a one-off? Or is this the start of something special? I'll explain in a bit, but for now we got the phenomenal one AJ Styles on the list for the men at number 5. Kaito Kayuima debuts on the list for the men this week with an appearance at number 4, and that is for defending his GHC heavyweight title against Yoichi in a very good match at Pro Wrestling Noah's Destination event. Kato is enjoying his third run with the title since winning it back in May, and he has been one of the aces for Noah since around 2022. Now that he successfully defended the title, I sort of wonder what is next. And I sort of want to see, since AJ Styles defeated Marufuji earlier in that evening, I would not mind seeing an interpromotional title match between Styles and Kato for the GHC title. Will it actually happen? 2 years ago, I would have said no chance in hell. Now, anything is possible, so who knows? What I do know is that Kato Kaioima put away another successful defense of his GHC heavyweight title, and that lands him on the list at number 4 for the men. We have a tie at number 3, and that is for a couple of makeshift tag teams who won main event matches this week. First, Joe Hendry from TNA and Trick Williams would team up on NXT to defeat NXT World Champ Ethan Page and Shawn Spears, while TNA World Champ Moose and Steve Maclin would put away Hendry and Josh Alexander on Impact. These matches are meant to further the main event storylines. Over on NXT, where everyone is circling new champ Ethan Page, and on Impact as we near Slammiversary and the 6-pack challenge for Moose's TNA World title. In the middle of all of this is Joe Hendry, whose star is bright enough that he can make a case for challenging for either title. It does seem like the TNA World title is in his destiny, but what if NXT and TNA throws us a curveball? I am intrigued by all involved, and I am hyped for Slammiversary, while also wondering how things on NXT plan to play out. For now, the winners of the big tag team main events on both NXT and TNA, Joe Hendry and Trick Williams, and TNA World Champ Moose and Steve Maclin arrive on the list at number 3. Coming in at the runner-up spot for the men this week is Dominic Mysterio, who on Monday Night Raw would tag with WWE Women's World Champ Liv Morgan in a mixed tag against Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega, and would for the first time ever pin his father to win the match in the main event. Dom was also all over Monday Night Raw, even finding himself in an uncompromising position with Liv as she tried to get him to stretch. And Carlito made that segment. But the end of Monday Night Raw was the major story, as after the win, Liv's and Dom's celebration was cut short when Rhea Ripley made her surprising return and made a beeline straight for Dom. This was a fire way to end the show, and now we wonder what is next for Dom now that the Eradicator has returned. Liv and Rhea will be battling for Dom's soul, and that whole angle should be great. Dom is one of the best heels in all of wrestling, and he is still young, so there is time to grow still. But for now, Dom has to answer to Mami, and the intrigue has Dominic Mysterio landing in the number 2 spot for the men. And the male wrestler of the week for week 23 is none other than the American Dragon himself, Bryan Danielson, who defeated Hangman Adam Page in what may be the best match of the week. And with that win, Danielson won the 2024 Owen Hart Cup tournament, and he has punched his ticket to face AEW World Champ Swerve Strickland at All In. The match itself was pretty brutal, with Danielson getting busted open and Hangman taking advantage. In the end, it was a quick roll-up that got the pin, and for those who complain that Bryan doesn't win enough in AEW, he is now in the main event of AEW's premiere show, and that match with Swerve is going to slap, and I am looking forward to the build. Will Bryan walk away with the title? Time will tell, but for now, congratulations to the American Dragon Bryan Danielson, the 2024 Men's Owen Hart Cup winner, number 1 contender to the AEW World title, and the Week 23 Male Wrestler of the Week. And now to the women and some honorable mentions. Sky Blue and Diamante would both win matches on Ring of Honor television to heat them up. Thunder Rosa would continue her winning ways, along with Giselle Shaw, both on AEW and TNA television, respectively. Both Ariana Grace and Thea Hale would win matches on NXT this week, and I think both are being heated up for potential title opportunities, most likely for Kalani Jordan's North American title. Izzy Dane made a surprising appearance on TNA Impact, responding to TNA Knockouts champ Jordan Grace in a losing effort. Ring of Honor Women's Television champ Billy Starks defeated Mackenzie Morgan in a Ring of Honor Women's Television title Proving Ground match. We're seeing some developments between WWE Women's champ Bayley, #1 contender and Queen of the Ring Nia Jax, and Money in the Bank holder Tiffany Stratton, as the three are entangled in an ongoing feud leading to SummerSlam, with Stratton threatening to cash in at that show. Will it happen? And then finally, I have to show some love to AEW Women's Champ Toni Storm, who took a beating like a champ at the end of Dynamite, where after winning the 2024 Women's Owen Cup tourney, Mariah May left the champ bloodied. The build for All In is on. And now the top 10 wrestlers of the week for the women. Kicking the list off for the women are a pair of Marigold inaugural champions who were crowned at Marigold Summer Destiny. Wwe Aew Tna would defeat Bazilla to become the first ever Marigold United National Champ, while Shozuki would pin Misa Matsui to win the Marigold Super Flyweight title. Both women are great champions to start with. Shozuki has some Stardom experience as a former Wonder of Stardom title holder, and Miku is still relatively young in the game at 33 years old. As I always say, follow-up with these things are key, but Marigold seems to be starting off on the right foot with a major show, some major names, and some big-name champs. Let's see what the promotion has in store for these inaugural champions. This week, the first ever United National and Super Flyweight champs, Wwe Aew Tna and Natsumi Shozuki, kicks off the list for the women at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Kelsey Heather, who is the new Shine Nova champion, as she defeated Amber Nova in a good match. The former WoW Tag Team champ beat back a Very Game Nova, who was champ for well over 200 days. The former cheerleader and pupil of Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze, I believe, has done very well for herself in her short-ring career, as she has only been in the game for 5 years. What does Sean have in store for the new champ? We will see, but for now, congrats to the new Shine Nova champ, Kelsey Heather, who lands in the list for the women at number 9. We have a tie at number 8, and that is for NWA Women's World Champ Kenzie Page and MLW Women's Featherweight Champ Janai Kai, who defended their titles this week. Page would defeat Ella Envy to retain her title on NWA Power, while Kai would beat back JG Gray at MLW Blood and Thunder to keep hers. The 22-year-old Paige is approaching a full year as women's champ, while Kai is at 275 days. Paige, of course, has a pretty empowered stable watching her back. I am curious to see who each performer's next major challenge will be, but until then, we got a couple of women's champs who defended their titles, NWA Women's Champ Kenzie Page and MLW Women's Featherweight Champ Janai Kai, who both land at number 8 this week. The Genius of the Sky, or should we start calling her the Queen of the Sky, Io Sky, defeated Utami Hayashishida at Marigold Summer Destiny in a kick-ass match. This had a big fight feel to it, with the two Joshi legends tangled up, and it was clear WWE allowed Io to go ham in this match because that is what she did, performing in her best match, I think, in a couple years and drowning out any doubts the Sky may have lost a step since joining WWE. Of course, I have never thought that, but some people are weird. Even better was Utami stepping up, matching Sky blow for blow, beat for beat, hold for hold, and man, this felt like the glory days of Stardom when Io pretty much ran shit over there. It took a nasty tombstone piledriver and moonsault from Sky to secure the victory, but this was a match that could have gone either way, and I want a rematch now. What I also wonder is this. Now that Sky has won this major match, does this put her in line for a Marigold World title shot? Anything can happen in this crazy forbidden door busting world of wrestling in 2024. For now, Io Sky, the genius, the Queen of Queens, arrives on the list this week at number 7. We have a tie at number 6 for two women who retained their titles this week. First, the juggernaut TNA Knockouts champ Jordynne Grace fought off NXT's Izzy Dame, who arrived on Impact to respond to Grace's open challenge. Also, Ivelisse, the Shine Women's World Champ, would defeat Xia Brookside to retain her title. On the TNA side, Ash by Elegance was on hand to witness and scout the match as she and Grace will meet at Slammiversary. Ivelisse, in her 4th reign, is approaching an astounding 1,000 days as champ since she won the title at the end of 2021. Is there anyone who can defeat her? Is there anyone that can defeat Grace in TNA? We have two very dominating champs continuing their dominance by retaining their titles this week, and that is Shine World Champ Ivelisse and TNA Knockouts Champ Jordynne Grace, who both land at number 6 this week for the women. WWE Women's World Champ Liv Morgan lands on the list for the women at number 5, and her fingerprints were all over Monday Night Raw. Liv, who arranged the mixed tag match between she and Dom against Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega, tried to get Dom to loosen up with some stretching that wound up looking a little too close for comfort, or maybe not if you're Dom. Later, Liv and Dom would win the main event tag match, complete with Liv hopping on Dom to celebrate. Then shit got real, as Rhea Ripley's entrance theme hit, shocking nearly everyone, and if you looked at Liv's face at that moment, you could see the fear of God was put into her. Now that Rhea is back, what is Liv's next move? Has she dug her heels enough in Judgment Day and in Dawn in particular to cause a rift? As I've mentioned before, I love Liv's evolution into a much more calculating heel. She makes up for her small stature with some mad psychological games, and that makes her one of the most formidable female wrestlers around today. The Liv Rhea storyline has been one of the best in WWE, and I am expecting a major blow-off, but until then, WWE Women's World Champ Liv Morgan appears on the list at number 5. We have the first ever Marigold World Champion, and that is the legendary Sarray, who at Marigold Summer Destiny defeated Julia in a great match, and that has her at number 4 this week. Sarray and Julia did everything they could to each other physically in the battle to become the inaugural champ, but at the end, Sarray, who took advantage of Julia's injured wrist all match, was able to pin her, and Marigold is off and running with a very good, very credible grappler to represent the all-female promotion. Sarray is a legend in Joshi wrestling, so any title defense with her will be a major deal, and even more, whoever defeats her will be a made star within the promotion. Also, with WWE's current cross-promotion campaign, is it possible we may see an Io Sky Sarray match for the title? Just putting it out there. Let's destroy all those forbidden doors. Congratulations are in order this week for Sarray, the inaugural Marigold World Champion and the number 4 female wrestler of the week. The 2024 Female Owen Hart Cup winner Mariah May lands on the list at number 3 this week, and she made a major impact on the show, winning the main event in a very good match against Willow Nightingale, then pretty much immediately turned on her mentor, AEW Women's Champ Timeless Toni Storm, and decimated her, making a statement that she is gunning for Storm's title at All In now that she is number 1 contender. May and Willow had a great little match to remind people that, hey, that Mariah May girl is pretty good at this wrestling thing before obliterating Storm, taking Rufus out with a belt shot and bloodying Storm with multiple shoe shots. The turn was a genuine shock, a welcome surprise, and an outstanding ending to Dynamite, and we have a great foundation for the build towards May and Storm at All In. There is a lot of intrigue as we find out where things went wrong. Was May playing Storm all along? And where does Mina Shirakawa fit in all this? We got a lot of questions that I am sure will be addressed over the coming weeks as we get closer to All In. This week, join me in congratulating the 2024 Female Owen Hart Cup winner and number one contender to the AEW Women's title, Mariah May, who appears at number 3 this week. A major signing went down this week as the incomparable Stephanie Vaquer made the decision to sign with WWE, and this development has her coming in as this week's runner-up for the women. Vaquer, who just recently dropped the New Japan Strong Women's title to Mercedes Moné at AEW Forbidden Door, shocked the wrestling world when she announced her immediate departure from New Japan and CMLL. Speculation fired up, but it didn't last long as Vaquer was quickly scooped up by WWE and will be reporting to NXT. Vaquer, Roxy, Julia, and Cora Jade on the same show? NXT's women's division is already arguably the best in the world, and this signing is just a game changer. If anyone follows Wrestler of the Week knows I am a major fan of Vaquer, and all I've been asking in 2024 is for her to get some more high-profile work, and those manifestations may have just come true. Prepare for an absolutely wild second half of 2024 as WWE looks to expand to Mexico, and I am sure Vaquer will be a major player in that expansion. This week, Stephanie Vaquer, who shook the world with her signing to WWE, lands on the list at number 2. The Eradicator and everyone's mommy, Rhea Ripley, is back, and she is pissed, and she is the Week 23 Female Wrestler of the Week. At the end of Monday Night Raw, Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan won a major mixed tag main event match against Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. As Liv and Dom celebrated, Mami's music hit, and man, did the arena explode. Rhea made a beeline straight for the ring where Morgan wanted no part of her and immediately got in Dom's face. Ripley is back, and there is no doubt she will be gunning for Liv Morgan and her title at SummerSlam, and if you want my honest opinion, I believe the story between Rhea and Liv is big enough that it should main event the show. Yeah, change my mind. It is great to see Mami back. I just want to see her kick ass and take names, but she has a lot to take care of first, like figuring out what the fuck happened to Judgment Day since she left. I anticipate some big developments over the next few weeks as we move towards SummerSlam, but until then, welcome back, Mami. Rhea Ripley, the Eradicator, is back, and she is your Female Wrestler of the Week for Week 23. And now the weekly standings for the men and the women. This was a major week, but next week I am expecting things to go absolutely wild as Slammiversary is approaching, SummerSlam is approaching, All In is approaching. There is just so much wrestling going on, and we still have a ton of potential crossovers coming. What did you think of my choices for Wrestler of the Week? Did you agree or disagree? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot everyone, take care.